Good evening. Welcome to StoriesRoc. It's really, really good to see all of you. Rochester is one of those cities where our arts and cultural calendar is always overflowing, so I know you had many other choices tonight. So I really thank you for choosing this one. I'm grateful to all of our readers and tellers. They have created stellar stories, and they've also chosen to be very vulnerable here in front of you tonight. And that's quite something. Well, tonight we will hear stories about creating family, adopting, blending, and finding your kin. And we're going to do this in reverse order. Family isn't always about blood. It's the people in your life who want you in theirs, the ones who accept you for who you are, the ones who would do anything to see you smile, and the ones who love you no matter what. And in Arkansas, where my mom is from, we call that finding your kin. B.J. Douglas is originally from San Francisco and currently teaches social work at Alfred State College. B.J. is an adoptee, reunited with her birth family 24 years ago. And a little known fact, when she was a child, she used to dream that she could fly in the air from place to place. Tonight she will read Searching for My Birth Mom. And I'm going to need to raise this way up for BJ.
I was born at Merritt Hospital in Oakland, California in 1964. Yet my birth certificate states only that I was born in Alameda County and shows the doctor's signature. You see, I was given an amended birth certificate, which is the hallmark of closed adoptions. It lists my new name, my adoptive name, and my new parents' names, my adoptive parents. My birth name was nowhere to be found, nor were my birth parents' names. My records are sealed. I would be allowed to see my original birth certificate only in the case of a life and death medical emergency. Still, I wondered, why would they leave out the hospital name? Was that supposed to be a secret too? When I was a teenager, I decided I wanted to find my birth parents. I wanted to see if I had any siblings, find out my nationality, and see if I looked like anyone. My first goal was to find out exactly where I was born. Was I born in a taxi, a hotel, the airport? Why didn't they list the hospital? Using my incredible detective skills, which I developed from years of watching Mission Impossible, the original series, I was able to make out the doctor's scribbled signature as Dr. Chin. So I got out the phone book and started calling all the hospitals in that area. When I asked the lady on the phone at the second hospital I called if there was a Dr. Chin that had ever worked there, she said, "Yeah, he's standing right here. You want to talk to him?" I barely managed a no thank you before I quickly hung up the phone. Merritt Hospital, my first bona fide clue. I was so excited. Nothing could stop me now, I thought. It's only a matter of time. Well, weeks of searching turned into months, months turned into years. My adoptive mom had told me my birth name was Barbara Jean Allender. But even with my birth name in hand, I still wasn't able to find any clues leading me to my birth parents. The only clues I found out turned out to be dead ends. Finally, a friend of mine came over to my house and said, "Hey, let's look at your adoption file. Let's see what you actually have." She happened to be an adoptee who was searching for her birth family. My friend looked at all the information I had, my amended birth certificate, my non-identifying information, 4 pages worth, that I had requested from my adoption agency, and lots of scraps of paper with info from my many years of searching, which amounted to not much. I was shocked when my friend said, "Oh my gosh, you have so much information. This is going to be a breeze. You should be able to find your birth parents, no problem." Well, she was right. With her help and the help of a whole community of local adoptees with whom she put me in touch, I was able to find my birth parents in 5 weeks through public records and my detective skills. I was 28 years old. 12 years had gone by since I first started searching. I found out my mom's name was Barbara Jean Douglas. She had named me after her. And my mom's mother's name was also Barbara Jean. I was Barbara Jean the Third. I really liked that. It gave me a sense of history and pride. And so it was on May 9th, 1992 at 7 a.m. San Francisco time, I phoned the woman who lived in Wisconsin, who I was sure was my birth mom. "Hello, I'm looking for Barbara Jean Douglas," I said. "You've reached the right place. Just a moment," the male voice on the other end said. My heart was out of my body. This was the moment I had waited 28 years for. A woman's voice on the other end answered hesitantly. "Hello?" "Hi, I'm looking for Barbara Jean Douglas," I repeated. "That's me," she said. I said, "Well, I'm looking for a very specific Barbara Jean Douglas. Were you born in Seattle? Were you raised in Southern California? Were you married to a Mr. Allender?" She answered yes to everything. Her answers matched all the research I had done. I knew it had to be her. There was only one more thing she had to hear. I said, "Well, I was born April 29th, 1964 at 6:12 p.m. at Merritt Hospital in Oakland, and I believe you're my birth mother." She paused momentarily as if mulling over the facts. Then she said quickly, "I believe you're right." After an incredible moment of joy and crying inside, I was suddenly interrupted by a barrage of facts. "Now, your uncle and aunt live in Los Angeles, and they just adopted a baby, and you have approximately 42 cousins, mostly on the West Coast," and I was blown away. I said, "Wait, slow down. Let me get a pencil. I have to write all this down." She told me, amazingly, that she had started looking for me just 2 weeks earlier. She had sent in a form to a search and reunion data bank, and she thought my call had been prompted by them. I said, 2 weeks? You gotta be kidding. I've been searching for you for 12 years. She could hardly believe it. She had started collecting family data and pictures and cataloging everything in anticipation of our reunion. And by the time I called, wow, was she ready. We talked for 3 hours that first conversation, and every day for a week after that, until finally she insisted that we talk only once every few days because the phone bills and because she wasn't able to get her chores done around the house or the garden because I was always calling her. I was like a teenager, just wanting to talk and talk about everything. Books, travel, adoption, searching. What kind of movies did she like? I had so much to learn about her. 28 years worth. The way I looked at it was, the more I got to know her, the more I would get to know myself. 3 weeks later, I got to meet my birth mother for the first time. Wow, what a life-changing experience that was. I decided I wanted to reclaim my birth name and take my mom's last name as my last name. So my name became Barbara Jean Allender Douglas, with my dad's last name, Allender, as my middle name. Everyone says my mom and I look a lot alike. We both have full lips, broad shoulders, big hands. We both play the piano, sing, love flowers and shopping, and have a tendency toward overindulging in sweets, especially chocolate. We're both very emotional and cry at the drop of a hat. We're both in the helping professions and sound alike in our voice and intonations. We also both grew up in alcoholic homes, and we are both in recovery for that. This is one of the best things we have in common, because the fact that she understands me is the best thing. I'll ask her for advice on relationships or career questions or family concerns, and she brings it back to me in my recovery. Well, I just want to remind you, Barbara Jean, that as adult children of alcoholics, we have a hard time acknowledging our accomplishments and asserting our needs. So my advice is to put your needs out there. Remember, you deserve to get all the love you desire. The first few times she said things like that, I would just fall out. This is my mother, I would say. I would cry and cry. I felt so completely understood. For my mom's first time visiting me, I was so excited I threw a big reunion party and invited all my friends. The party was a total success. My mom felt very welcomed. I asked my friends to each bring a gift for her, a little card or a token that spoke to their relationship with me, so she could get a sense of who I was to them, in relation to them. People brought pictures of me when I was little and wrote little mementos, even poems. My friends were extremely generous, and it made the party a memorable experience for us all. My mom never had a baby shower, so I decided that since we were finally reunited, I wanted to somehow celebrate my birth for her sake, similar to how a baby shower would have done. So I got her a congratulations on the arrival of your baby card. And a big stuffed animal, a huge white stork with a little teddy bear wrapped in a blanket in its mouth, and sent it to her. On the day I thought it would arrive, I called her. As we were talking on the phone, UPS delivered the package. She opened it and immediately said, "You are not going to believe this. I just sent you the baby version of this exact stork." And later that day, I received an exact replica, baby size, of the stork. And it's a rattle. Call it a coincidence, but we feel that we are very connected on a very primal and spiritual level. Thank you.
And BJ showed me a picture of her mom, and they do look like twins. They look absolutely alike. Thank you. Thank you for that delightful story. And thank you. Thank you all for being here. And I hope to see you at our next show in a couple of months. Blessings.
Great night.